Alright guys, so this is a video just recapping what we've talked about. This is up to question number 7. So what did we review? So the first couple strategies pertain to a couple of questions. The first two are make sure you're solving the problem and statement 2, which is plug in answer choices. And then from the last video, the last time I went over this, I included question. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, a couple of questions. The first place that this emerged, these two questions emerged, was in question 1. I said make sure you answer the question because it asks for 6t. A lot of times when people solve this, they solve for t. They look for t in the answer choices, but it's asking you to solve for 6t. So be careful with that. In this one, none of the answer choices are what t is. I think t becomes 7 over 2, or negative 7 over 2. But in the TSI, you definitely will have some questions that will have, when you solve and you get t, they'll have negative 7 over 2 as the answer choice. So read carefully. Also, I talked about plugging in here, and here it's not really clear and very easy to substitute in the answer choices. But we did see that in question 6. So in question 6, it says which of the following equations has both 1 and negative 1 as solutions. We said, hey, look, you can take 1, and I said 1 and negative 6. I think 1 and negative 3 as solutions. You can take 1 and plug it in for x. So I'd replace this x with 1. I replace this x with 1. Solve through, see if it gives me 0. And then if it works again with negative 3, then that's going to be the answer. Okay? Though keep in mind, when you do use this strategy, you want to go through and check every single answer choice. Okay? Do not be satisfied with just substituting in once you find the answer and think that's it. You need to make sure you check all of your answer choices. That way you catch your mistakes. That way you notice if anything peculiar happens, and if so, hopefully you can implement another strategy. Okay? So take your time when you take the test. Alright, what's the next one? So the next strategy that we talked about was direct proportional, inverse proportional, or inversely proportional. And we went through and did, I showed you multiple ways of doing this. The easiest is if it's direct, you divide. Direct starts with D, divide starts with D, inverse you multiply. Okay? And that also obviously pertains to question number 2. Then we talked about slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. You should know this. If you don't, you need to put this in your head. M is the slope, which is rise over run. B is the y-intercept. So on this question here, question 3, obviously use y equals mx plus b. We also talked about another way of solving this. We know that this point, though it's not stated directly, we know this point is 0, 0, and this point is 6, 9. So you could substitute those points into each of these answer choices. Again, if you're going to do this, you need to go through every single one. Okay? If you plug in zeros, when I did this in the video, I plugged in 0, 0, and we got A and B to be incorrect, but we got C and D both to work, so I had to use 6, 9. Okay? So that also pertains to statement number 5, plug in points to solve the equation. All right. The next one, 6, is substitute a number for x in the question and answer choice and solve. Avoid 0, 1 and numbers in the problem. Okay, so where does this happen? This happened in this question here about parcels of land. When I went through and we did this the first time, we read through, it was kind of confusing, so we changed the values, and when we reread the question in terms of 10 and 80, it made a lot more sense. Okay, so I think we couldn't plug in 0, 1. This was originally 3x minus 2, so we couldn't use 2 and 3, 24 and 16. So I think we plugged in 4, and we got 12. 3 times 4 is 12, minus 2 is 10, and then we solved that with 4, and we got 80. Okay, and we read through the question. When we read through it again, it was pretty straightforward, and this question was 80 divided by 10, which is 8, and we solved through. Again, want to stress that when you go through and you do this, you have to work through everything. So I didn't just say the answer is 8 and choose answer choice D. I plugged back in 4 into each of these answer choices, and only D worked. Okay. We didn't actually have another strategy. We just kind of reused the same strategies. Question 5, we just wrote an equation. Once we got the equation, one thing we said was we could substitute in. Once we wrote the 2 equations, we could substitute in the answer choices, and just again to make sure that we're answering the question was for sandwiches. Okay. We talked about question 6 already. Last one was in question 7, y-intercept. If we look here, 7 as rule 7. X-intercept, we set y equal to 0, x-intercept, we set y equal to 0, y-intercept, we set x equal to 0. So in this question, it's asking for the y-intercept. All I have to do is say x is 0 and solve through. Okay? Quick run through. I know I kind of went through each of these very quickly. But if you've been watching these videos in order, this is the 3rd time through I've gone through a lot of these. So it should be a quick review at this point. But if I need to slow down or I need to go more in depth in this quick little review of what we've done thus far, let me know. I will. Alright. Let me know what's up. Post some comments. Let me know what's up. And I'll talk to you on the next video.